Second. There I am. There's Zach Berry as well. He's joining me for today's Soft Verbal. As always, we'll answer your mailbag questions from rebelgrove.com. We'll be with you for, it's 12:14 right now. Probably stay with you till about 1 o'clock. This is podcast number 3 of 3 in a row for me today. If you want to catch some college football talk, Les Miles, and more, you can go back and look at the archive on our YouTube page for hit the sub button, subscribe. And you can watch SEC football and beyond with myself, Chris Landry, and then Chase Parham and I just taped an Oxford Exxon podcast as well. All of those where you get your podcast feeds. They're all there for you. Let's see. Before we get started, I want to tell you about the College Corner. It's your one-stop Rebel shop, 2 locations in the Jackson area. In Ridgeland, the College Corner is next to Fleet Feet. In Flowood, it's next to Half Shell. If you don't live in Jackson, it's okay. No problem. You can go to collegecornerstore.com. Plus, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram. So whether you're tailgating in Oxford or home gating with friends and family, the College Corner has you covered for game day, the largest selection of Rebel gear in central Mississippi. I'm coming to you from the Clark Ford Studios. Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900 is the number. Call it. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes, right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. The rest is up to you. 662-257-1900. Zach, how are you?
Neil.
Zach.
Doing well.
What's going on?
I was reminded last night and this morning I was cordially invited to join a bourbon club.
A bourbon club, yes.
Which is always fun. Somebody there had some cigars, so naturally we eventually retired to the back porch of the host, and we lit up some cigars, hung out there, and talked for a while. And I quickly was reminded that once you do that for at least like 5 minutes, everything just smells like cigar.
Yes.
So yeah, having to quickly throw everything into the laundry this morning. So it was good.
I like cigars, but for that reason, I'm not a frequent cigar. I can't even remember the last time I had one. But the other thing about a cigar is once you've had one, you can't get the taste out of your mouth for a long time.
Yeah, it lingers. I brushed my teeth twice last night, and it's still there.
Yeah. I'm not crazy about that.
Yeah, it's got to be like it's got to be in a certain setting, like a bourbon club. That's fine. Cigar with bourbon is good.
Yeah.
Like a special occasion, like golf trip or something. If somebody pops out a cigar, sure, I'm not going to turn it down. But yeah, I'm not a big cigar guy.
All right. We asked for some questions from Rebel Grove people, so we'll get to them here. Let's see. We'll have fun with the first one. What does Nick Saban hate worse, the running of the Gumps or having a recruit whose parents are part of the running of the Gumps?
Ooh.
Probably both.
Probably the first one, because at least if it's the parents of a recruit, he probably doesn't hate that as much because he's just going to, he's got to recruit him anyway.
It's probably true. At least in that scenario, he gets something out of it. He gets a player. In the running of the Gumps, he just gets reminded that Jimmy Sexton got him a lot of money in the contract, but that this is the portion. This is the one piece of the contract that reminds him that no job is perfect.
Yeah, I mean that's. Ooh.
Do you think
it is one of the cringiest things I've ever seen?
He detests those people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like he is on autopilot during that whole thing.
I would love to be inside his brain during that hour.
Yeah. Have him, that'd be nice.
I bet there are some special words that are said. All right. Dub Jr. says, Neil, I know you said a while ago that Lane Kiffin wants to make Ole Miss the Clemson of the SEC. For him to accomplish anything close to that, where does Ole Miss need to rank consistently every year in the recruiting rankings? Top 10?
Yeah. The key there is not the ranking per se. It's you have to hit. You can't miss. Clemson has their big top 5 classes here and there, but they're very deliberate with their process, and they've had some that are, you know, just a measly top 15 class, but they rarely miss. They get a lot out of everybody they sign. I mean, look, you know, if we're going to keep it topical and current here, Kermit Davis and that staff have had to deal with a couple misses that didn't pan out.
Sure.
That's huge in recruiting. It's one thing to get the 5-star on that's on, you know, 5-star on paper, but you know, look at the portal right now. Ben Davis, former 5-star, top 5 player in the country, didn't really pan out, and you know there were some factors there, but you know didn't do much at Alabama. So Clemson very rarely misses on those big time prospects, and then they turn those fringe 3-stars into all conference players. So that's the key there. And then, you know, it also doesn't hurt that you have Brent Venables.
All right, Rebel Commodore has 2. He says A. He says he has 2, and then he does AB, which is fine. It's an interesting thing. You know, now I think about it, if you say, I have 2 questions, you almost have to number them 1 and 2 at that point, don't you? But if you say I have questions, you could come back with A, B. That's interesting. I hadn't even thought about that.
Maybe he's just keeping us on our toes.
I'm probably the only person that now will give some thought to if you put out a specific number of questions. If you say I have 4 questions, you would label them 1, 2, 3, 4. But what's the difference in saying I have questions and then saying A, B, C, D?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like Michael Scott. Fool me once, strike 1. But fool me twice, strike 3.
Well, in this case, it would be fool me once, strike 1. Fool me twice, strike B.
Yeah. Well said.
All right. Rebel Commodore says, see as overwhelming consensus. I guess he means seeing as the overwhelming consensus is Ole Miss needs a quarterback this cycle. Would it not be best to get an experienced quarterback in the transfer market or give Luke Altmaier a year and recruit a high school quarterback?
Well, you know, I guess the latter part of that question is almost kind of leading to the Arch Manning discussion, which we haven't had that on this show. We'll have to do it at some point.
Well,
but,
the question B in his 2-part question is about Arch Manning. So
okay, I see it. Yeah. We'll get there. Man, I don't know. I mean, I think the staff, you know, Levy and Kiffin particularly are going to be. It's not just going to be, well, we need a quarterback this class, so we got to take one. Like they're not going to push if they don't think that somebody can come in and contribute. They offered Nick Evers today, quarterback out of Flower Mound, Texas. I put it on the board. Also posted in the Chicks right now. It looks like 2 of their targets are kind of trending somewhere else. So they're going to, you know, be diligent, do what they do. They're not going to stray from the process. They did it with Altmaier, and if they think that someone is worthy of being pursued and that they can sign them and turn them into an SEC quarterback, that's what they're going to do. If they don't think that's possible, then yeah, sure, they get turned to the portal. There's plenty of time.
Yeah, I don't. The key thing is to add talent to your roster every single year at every position. That's really what it is. It's not as complicated as people make it out to be. It's not calculus. It's add talent to your roster across the board every year.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And if that's a high school kid, great. If it's a JUCO kid, great. If it's a grad transfer, great. If it's a transfer, great. You want to add talent to your roster every single year at every position.
Yeah.
All right. Question B. Obligatory, how is Arch Manning's recruitment going? He says, I see a lot of Tennessee people think they're in the mix because of Peyton, but they're mostly delusional anyway. While we, referring to Ole Miss, are all confident about Archie, Eli, and Cooper, and that I'm not sure exactly what he's saying. He says, he's saying, I'm just wondering how much family ties affect this recruitment. I mean, I've talked to some people. I can fill you in, but if you would like to go first, feel free.
I mean, without hearing what you have to say, I think, I mean, sure, his father is going to have some opinions. He's going to have some, you know, encouraging words of, hey, this school offers this school offers this school doesn't offer this. But I would venture to say it's ultimately going to what Arch wants to do. It's not going to be we're going to push you to Ole Miss because we love it and we go there all the time. Like, no, it's not going to be that. Like, they're going to let him decide.
Yep.
I don't think Archie's going to be a factor. I don't think Peyton or Eli's going to. I mean, Arch might ask them questions, but no, they're not going to push him anywhere.
It's going to be his decision, and the family is going to support his decision.
Yeah.
Period. Now, who in the family has the most say? Multiple people say his mom would have as much influence as anyone, which stands to reason because
Wahoo.
It's his mom. And no, it's not about Virginia. I think it's going to come down to fit, to people. It's going to come down to what every other recruiting battle comes down to. It's going to come down to fit, relationships, people. Peyton chose Tennessee years and years and years ago because he really hit it off with David Cutcliffe. He liked their sales pitch. He liked him. And I think you can see all these years later, it was a good choice because Peyton Manning and David Cutcliffe remain extremely close. So it probably made sense. Eli picked Ole Miss in part because of Cutcliffe. Eli, Ole Miss was in a better position at that time than they were when Peyton came out of high school. Is Peyton going to playfully recruit his nephew to Tennessee? Of course. Is Eli going to playfully recruit his nephew to Ole Miss? Yeah. Is that going to factor in? Nope. Based on what I'm hearing, I think Ole Miss is in play. I do. I don't think he's very far down the line from making a recruiting decision based on things I've heard. I think there's still plenty of things to evaluate, plenty of things to watch. There's also an understanding, and my God, they're a football family. He knows that the landscape at a lot of places is going to look completely different in December than it looks today on March the 5th. It's going to look different. Coaches are going to move. Coaches are going to get fired. Teams are going to win. Teams are going to lose. We're going to have a season and all the chaos that comes with the season. So I think after that, though, it's going to start getting real. So we'll see. I continue to hear the same group of schools, which is in no particular order. I hear Ole Miss. I hear Georgia. I hear Oklahoma. You hear some Alabama. Not as much, but some Alabama. They're there. You hear Duke. I don't buy it, but I get it. That's
depending on what Sark does in 2021. You might hear Texas some.
I think you'll hear Texas a little bit. So there's a number of schools that you'll hear. I still think if you told me that I could have 3 schools against the field, I would take Ole Miss, Oklahoma, and Georgia, and feel pretty good about it. But a lot can happen. A lot will happen. I mean, like for example, Lincoln Riley leaves to go be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, or whoever. That changes the calculus at Oklahoma. I mean, who knows what it all looks like. So we'll see. And I understand how big of a story it is. He's not talking. The family has kind of kept him pretty tied off. At some point, he'll get on the camp circuit, and I would think, he'll go to some places, and some people will talk to him, and there will start to be some things that come out, and at some point the rumor mill will go crazy, and we'll have to sort through it. Right now, there's really no rumor mill to go crazy. I mean, there's just kind of watching to see what happens. I mean, I think if you're him and you're evaluating Ole Miss right now, how stable is the program? Is Lane Kiffin going to be there? If it's not Lane Kiffin, who is it? If Lane Kiffin is there, who's the offensive coordinator? What's that look like? What steps does the program make in the next 2 seasons from a competitive standpoint? What's the talent around you? How much does Ole Miss close the talent gap against Alabama and Georgia and Florida and Texas A&M? There's a number of things that are there. So there's a lot to look at as it pertains to Arch Manning, and God knows we're going to talk about it every single week. But right now, there's not a whole lot of news. CC Barnett wants to know, Zach, are there any updates on the main defensive line prospects on Ole Miss's board? Oates, Nolan, etc.
Not much. If you haven't been able to, kind of figured out from some of the stories I've posted on the site, a lot of kids are, they have some thoughts on some schools. They might have some that they hear from a lot. They might have some that they like, but a lot of them are waiting to take visits. And I think for right now, it's probably going to be most of the answers that I'm going to get. Now, there are some, exceptions. There are going to be some that are going to commit early. Maybe they make a connection with a coach and they want to get it done.
Zach is the person that edits all of your stories. I'm reading them all, and there's a common thread when you talk to these kids. They're pandemicked out, and they're ready to go visit. They want to go see some places. They don't want to make these, if possible, they don't want to make these decisions sight unseen. They want to make these decisions sight seen. And so I think that's going to slow things down until the end of May.
Yeah. As far as, some of the ones that they named, I did talk to Jaheim Otis last week. Should be getting on the phone with him hopefully soon. He's been busy with school and, working out and all that, but he's we should be able to talk at some point. But Aaron Bryant, the defensive tackle out of South Haven, has kind of blown up. Alabama, Georgia, Oregon has offered him. Xavier Harris, defensive tackle at Germantown, he's pretty quiet. He's pretty reserved. He doesn't say much. And as far as out of state, I talked to Jamon Tapp. It's on the site at rebelgrove.com. He was like, man, I want to take visits right now, but I can't. So I want to wait. He's like, I hear from these SEC schools. He mentioned Ole Miss, but like Neil said, they're not wanting to force a decision. And I mean, I think there's some growing optimism that the dead period may not go all the way to the end of May. With the way things are trending right now, I think that it's a good sign. And hopefully, for the sake of these kids and for the sake of me interviewing them and not having to just, pull teeth for these answers, I hope that they get to take visits.
Sure, everybody does. Absolutely. We'll get back to some other questions in a second. First, I want to tell you the Soft Verbal, also brought to you by Daniel Barfield, Barfield Wealth Management, founded in 2000. Daniel Barfield has been serving individuals and businesses in the Oxford and North Mississippi area for more than 20 years. He carries both CFP and CPA designations, and he's affiliated with the Advisors Resource Council, a registered investment advisory firm with offices in Oxford, New Orleans, Dallas, and the surrounding areas. He and his staff offer comprehensive financial planning, including investment management, estate and tax planning, insurance planning, and business retirement plans. You can get in touch with him at 662-236-6454 or visit his site, barfieldwealthmanagement.com, to learn how he can help you. Also brought to you by Billy's Small Batch Bacon. My old friend William Stitt has mastered the art of bacon. He spent more than 3 decades in the restaurant and hospitality business, and bacon is absolutely William's passion. He uses bacon selected from the finest hogs, hand-turned every 2 hours in small batches, rubbed with nitrate-free pink curing salt and brown sugar molasses, and it's absolutely fantastic. You really need to check it out yourself. Go to billysbacon.com. That's BILES bacon.com. Try it today. Order 5 pounds or more and enter the promo code Rebel Grove, and you'll get a free Billy's Bacon hat. You'll love it. We're also brought to you by Alpha Specialties, located at 1670 Highway 80 in Pearl, Mississippi. They're your trailer-specific professional. If you want to haul it, they can call it. It's the premium trailer dealership in Mississippi. They've got Load Trail, which is the premium brand trailer. They also have Hallmark Cargo Trailers, one of the most quality cargo trailers on the market today, perfect for hauling goods to markets and shows, hauling race cars, taking ATVs to deer camp, and more. They can even work with third parties to have game day trailers and concession trailers built just for you. They also repair all types of trailers. They have all sorts of truck accessories, trailer parts, accessories as well. 601-932-9798, or check them out at alphaofms.com. Also brought to you by Jennings Executive Search. Jennings Executive Search specializes in the recruitment of accounting, finance, strategy, corporate development, and data science professionals from the staff to C-level in all industries. Whether you're a small business owner who needs a finance leader, you work in private equity, or you run a team at a Fortune 500 company, John and his recruitment team of former public accountants will simplify the hiring process by presenting you with a short list of only the most qualified candidates. He works on a contingent basis, meaning no hire, no fee. and will in no way interfere with your own recruitment efforts. To learn more, go to that's Jon at JenningsEXEC.com or call 404-536-3000. We're brought to you by Muddy Water Camo. Go to muddywateroutdoors.com and get that MyCharge portable battery that goes in your Tri-Zone heated jacket or vest. Buy one jacket and one battery, and you'll get another jacket and battery for free from muddywateroutdoors.com, our friends at Muddy Water Camo. Are you a decision maker or an influencer for a middle market size business or large corporation? If you are a business owner, CFO, controller, HR professional, or you assist your company with making financial decisions, then you may be aware that property and casualty insurance rates went up dramatically in 2020 and are continuing to rise in 2021. Hunter Maynard of USI Insurance is a risk management professional who specializes in negotiating between your company and the insurance carrier by working closely with business executives to ensure that they have the most effective and cost-efficient property and casualty insurance program possible. If you do not want an insurance company to determine what your business will pay on insurance, there are proactive steps that can be taken that will make your property and casualty risk management program a success. Hunter's an Ole Miss alum, has clients throughout Tennessee, Mississippi, Arkansas, and Alabama, and you can reach him at 901-233-4614 or by email at hunter.maynard, Maynard, @usi.com. And we're brought to you by Joey Erickson at Heron Gear Chevrolet in Jackson. Let him help you find the vehicle you're looking for at a price you can afford. Choose from a full selection of new Chevrolet vehicles or get a great deal on numerous brands of reliable pre-owned vehicles. Give him a call or text at 662-571-2367. Tell him what you're looking for, or stop by 1685 High Street in Jackson to test drive that new or used vehicle you've been wanting. Let him earn your business. All right, Zach, let's see. We're going back to our questions. Naz5108 wants to know who are the key targets on the offensive line. Does Ole Miss have a real shot to add a legit blue-chip four-star offensive lineman, or will it be more of the same kind of developmental guys?
I think for right now, they're probably still in the stages of doing some evaluations and sending out some offers, seeing who is receptive to the offer. But honestly, I mean, I think if you're looking for kind of some big names, at offensive tackle, I think, they offered Zach Rice, the 5-star out of Virginia. I think they're going to go after him. Go as far down the line as they can until they're out of it. If he's receptive to Randy Clements and the staff, then they're going to certainly fight for him. But as far as other tackles, I mean, Julian Armella's out there. Dane Shore, the former IMG Academy offensive lineman that's now at Kings Ridge Christian School in Georgia. They made his top schools list recently. And then, they're kind of throwing offers kind of all over the place. I mean, I talked to Ryan Brubaker a couple weeks ago. He's from Pennsylvania. I think they're going to be in the mix there. I mean, they're kind of talking to a little bit of everybody. Andrew Chambly from Arkansas, they offered him. Bryson Hurst from Gaucher, in-state kid, they're going to talk to him. So, look, it's a class that I think they really need to not only hit on some quality guys, but they need to build that depth. We've talked about it on the show. They are kind of searching for some offensive linemen to come in and compete and make an impact. So they offered Timmy Gagafine from Houston, Texas, earlier this week. I think they're going to probably be in the mix there. He's starting to kind of gain some notoriety on the recruiting trail. And then, microphone fell.
See that.
The rest of the class, I mean, Nito, and I can't even say his last name, Zulu. He's from Allen, Texas. Ole Miss has had success at that high school over the years, so it's kind of hard to narrow things down right now with how early it is, and we've talked about how they can't take visits. So once they can get to some camps, do some evaluations, and once they can have in-person conversations and visits, then that's when I think you'll start to see that list kind of take shape.
Both Naz and Walnut Reb, you okay? I'll wait for you to get it done.
Yeah, I'm good. Keep going.
They both want to know if we're hearing any transfer names for the last spot. I have not.
Yeah,
I mean, I could lie and tell you that bunch of stuff, but I haven't heard it.
yeah, I mean, nobody's saying anything, and it's hard to, without being able to. I mean, I don't know how people can do anything in the transfer portal without visiting. I mean,
It's hard to do.
it's a lot of relations. I mean, we saw, Big Cat Bryant went from Auburn to UCF. Obviously, he went there with the, familiarity with Gus. I don't know. I mean, it's hard. It's going to be a lot of like former recruiting relationships, like Henry Toto, the Tennessee linebacker. Probably going to end up at Alabama because Alabama recruited him really hard the first time around. So, yeah, I mean, I think they probably would like to evaluate in the spring, see what they got in spring ball, and then go from there. That's just my opinion.
I'm going to mute you so you can get that fixed real quick,
All right.
and then I'll answer this question from North Tampa Rebel. He says, how big was holding Levy for another year in the Arch recruitment? Chris Landry talked about stability being a big piece of that puzzle with him. I think it was big. I don't think it was critical. I don't think it was a game changer. But, yeah, I mean, he's going to be looking for stability at any program. Stability at Georgia, stability at Oklahoma, stability at Tennessee or wherever. So, yeah, stability at Ole Miss is going to be a factor for sure. But is it a huge deal? I don't know. I think their family, I'm told, really likes Jeff Lebby. I've heard that that Lebby and the Manning family have had really good conversations, and they like each other and all of that stuff. And so, yeah, sure. Is it a positive factor? Yes, but I mean, is it? Had Jeff Lebby left for UCF, for example, would Ole Miss be out of it? Of course not. Would that be something that would have to be addressed? Of course. But look, Arch Manning comes from a football family, and they're smart. They know that the odds of Jeff Lebby staying at Ole Miss as the offensive coordinator throughout Arch Manning's career are somewhere between very, very, very slim and completely zero. So they know that. That won't be what factors in the decision. It'll come down to the same things that it comes down to on lower profile kids: fit, comfort level, and kind of a feeling that you get. When you went and looked at schools, you knew what you were looking for. You were.
Mm-hmm.
And you knew when you kind of felt it, I mean, I've said that before. I mean, sometimes you'll read that from kids all the time. When Zach or someone like Zach says, "What was it about Ole Miss, or what was it about Auburn, or what was it about Tennessee or Missouri or wherever?" And the kid's like, "I don't know, it just kind of felt like home. Just kind of felt. I kind of liked the way it felt." Same thing.
Yeah,
it'll be like that for Arch Manning too. He's just because he's a high profile kid, it doesn't change anything. The fact that he comes from who he comes from and has extremely well-to-do parents and that kind of thing probably just makes it where distance will not be a factor because people can get to him quickly. Vibin wants to know, Zach, do you think this staff is going to push for some early commitments in the summertime? Lane Kiffin says they don't push for commitments.
Yeah, I would say maybe push is the wrong word. I think by the summertime, I think you'd hope that we are somewhat back to normal and they can have visits and all that. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that they're going to push, but if a recruit is on a visit or has met with the staff multiple times and is like, hey, I'd like to join the class, I don't think they're going to turn anyone away, especially if they have a committable offer and the staff thinks that they can contribute at a high level. But yeah, I think you're going to see some commitments start to take shape in the summer. December has sped up the clock for everybody, so spots fill up a lot faster. And yeah, I mean, if this staff thinks that you're worthy of playing in the SEC, and they've given you an offer and you want to join, I don't think they're going to say, no, you need to wait until October or November. No, like if it's an offer that's legit and it's not just a camp offer or, hey, we want to meet you and get to know you better, then yeah, sure, they'll take some.
As I Lay Dying says, I'd imagine it's difficult to get a pulse on who are actually targets with so many new offers that are going out, paired with the coaches being super close to the vest, no camps, no visits. Props for trying despite the circumstances. I mean,
thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, this is this has been challenging from a content standpoint, no question.
Yeah, I mean it's difficult. I talk to prospects a lot, and it's a lot of the same answers. It's kind of a cookie cutter interview at this point because they're frustrated just like we are. But yeah, it's hard to kind of figure out who is a real candidate and who isn't. But look, I mean that's gonna take care of itself as we get into the spring, get into the summer, and visits are back on the table.
In the stream, Killicam says any shot at Henry To'oTo'o. I don't think so.
No. I believe there's a quote in a story somewhere. I can't remember who said it. I believe it might have been Bama Online had it, where I think his dad said, "We told Alabama no the first go round. I don't think we're going to make that mistake again." So
yeah, that's the word on the street is it's Alabama. It has been for weeks now. Any thoughts on Ross Dellinger's latest article about states versus the NCAA as it pertains to name, image, likeness? He says it appears Mississippi is seeking to not be last to the dance when it comes to that. Listen, that legislation is going to pass. How it all gets worked out remains to be seen. How it is managed remains to be seen. How it is regulated remains to be seen. But kids are going to be able to cash in on name, image, likeness, and it is going to it's going to help some kids. It's not going to help as many kids, in my opinion, as some people think it is, but it is going to help some guys. It's going to help some high-profile guys, and it will absolutely be used as a recruiting tool. And the programs that currently are strong, powerful programs will benefit the most because that's just how that works. There is no way to fix that. So the good news is kids are going to get quote paid more, but still the majority of your college athletes are not going to get much benefit from name, image, likeness. They're just not.
Yeah, I'll say this. I mean, it certainly helps to have Lane Kiffin as your head coach if this passes, and I mean, probably the best salesman in the business. Doesn't hurt to have a guy that has hundreds of thousands of Twitter followers and, is as popular as ever on Twitter. So he could certainly help some guys out if the NIL were to pass. I mean, a couple of retweets from Coach will help put a couple dollars in your pocket.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt. Lamaruski says Aaron Bryant of South Haven's blowing up. God, that's terrible. That's tragic. Oh, he means he's – okay, never mind. I'm sorry. It's okay. He's got recent offers from Alabama, Georgia, Texas, and Oregon. Does Ole Miss still have the inside track as his father's alma mater and his first P5 offer, or is his recruitment wide open?
Yeah, I hadn't talked to Aaron since all that happened. Probably reach out just because he's really starting to pick up some steam. As far as I know, he's still slated to announce this summer on his birthday. But yeah, I mean, the first offer can matter a lot to some, and to some prospects, it's just kind of whatever. When these big time programs come calling, it can change things. But I mean, I think Ole Miss is going to be in it. I don't, he's a pretty quiet kid and doesn't say a lot, so I'll try to see if I can talk to him and kind of get a sense of what he's feeling now that he's added these offers. Because when I talked to him a couple months ago, it was just Ole Miss and Mississippi State, and I think Memphis might have been in it, maybe Southern Miss. But yeah, I mean, you'd be foolish to discount those other schools now that they've jumped in it. But look, I mean, I think Ole Miss has a product that's worth selling. I've talked to some high profile Rivals 100 kids that mention Ole Miss, and they say that It may not translate to a college football playoff berth in 2020, but they recognize what they're doing on the field, and they know who Lane Kiffin is, which
Sure.
a lot of kids don't pay attention to that stuff. I mean, I've talked to prospects that when I ask them who they're hearing from, and they start naming, well, I'm hearing from most SEC schools, and then they go to name them, and they're like, well, actually, I don't really know who's in the SEC. So, they don't really pay attention to it like you and I and everyone on the board does.
Speaking of in LI, do you want to pay a few bills here?
I'd say that's a good idea. I will ask you this, Neil. Did you know the average homeowner has over $40,000 in equity?
I did not know that.
Yeah. So if you've been thinking of selling and relocating, it has never been a better time to sell your home. Historically low interest rates make it possible for you to purchase your dream home with the lowest rates in our lifetime. If you have any of those questions, you can call Stacy and Rick with the Barry Home Team of Keller Williams. They will lead you through the process for property assessment, repairs, staging, and putting that sold sign in your yard. Both of them multi-million-dollar club members, and would love to assist you today. 901-481-6420 or 901-461-6421, or you can check them out at thebarryhometeam.com. Podcast also brought to you by Bluff City Advisory Group, Memphis's leading team of finance professionals who can provide advanced assistance with financial planning, pension, and qualified plan support, and business and real estate planning strategies as well. Former Ole Miss Rebel and founding partner Ben Still, along with his elite-level customer service team, make it their goal to help you meet the ongoing demands of your financial needs. Also brought to you by Saddle Creek Title, the Mid-South's leader in client-focused, innovative closing solutions. Neil Hanna and his team are more than just a real estate closing firm. They are dedicated to going the distance to ensure the ease and growth of your real estate business. Find more information at saddlecreektitle.com or call them at 901-753-1600. Podcast also brought to you by Lamar Yard. Things are opening up. Oxford is starting to make some moves, and Lamar Yard is doing that as well. Soon to be indoor-outdoor restaurant, bar, and entertainment space on South Lamar in Oxford. 10,000 square feet, 3/4 of an acre of outdoor space, full stage, indoor-outdoor projectors, 3 bars, a children's playground, and parking on site. The quintessential family and pet-friendly venue, and they look forward to hosting you soon. Go there. Enjoy a cocktail, enjoy some Texas barbecue, and more. Check them out at lamaryard.com. Lastly, Kelly English Restaurant Group also sponsors this show. The renowned chef and his team now offer nationwide shipping. You can get that at irisetc.com. They also offer wild game cooking programs and Cooking with Kelly, virtual cooking classes that you can sign up for at table22.com/iris. All of that and more can be found at chefkellyenglish.com.
He has some great stuff. That great restaurants.
Oh, yeah.
Kelly's a great guy. Nas says, I know the staff recruits nationally, but this seems to be a strong year in state. So over under 4.5 of the 4-star players in Mississippi end up in this class. Currently, there are 11 in the rankings. 4.5 is over under. Okay. Yeah, I'd go over it too, I think.
They already got 2. Marquez Dortch and Larry Simmons. Yeah, I'd go over. I think once visits are back in the fold, and this is a broken record, we keep saying it, but this staff is personable. They're young. They're energetic. They've added some big pieces in Randall Joyner and Coleman Hutzler. Really good, proven recruiters. I think they're going to be just fine.
JT Rebel switches gears a little. He says, with all the players leaving the basketball program, where do you think Kermit Davis turns to in recruiting? In my opinion, he has to sign Brandon Huntley Hatfield. We got 3 kids coming in. Got at least 3 spots open. Probably gonna have more than that. They're gonna go. They're gonna go transfer route like everybody else. They are going to look for a big. They got to find a big. Simply have to find a big. Hadim C's gone. Sean Robinson's gone. Romello White's gone. So you got to go post. The 3 kids they've signed as freshmen are all wings or guards. So you got to go post. At least with 1, probably 2. I don't know. I mean, I know they want Huntley Hatfield. I haven't heard anything different to make me think that they're in any better shape or worse shape than they've been for the last month. He does not appear to be in any hurry. And then they need somebody who can make the 3-point ball. They're going to have to find a scorer in this mix as well. That's what's killed them. Is two things have hurt them in a handful of games. One, the inability to make a 3 ball, and then two is, or I should say B, is their lack of length in the backcourt. When they play these teams that have big guards, they struggle. And Devontae's leaving, which leaves Jarkel, who's a small guard. And Deshaun Ruffin is being talked about a lot, and Deshaun's small. They've got to find some size. It's going to be a really interesting offseason. You throw in the fact that it is, as of now, as it's a broken record, but it just bears repeating over and over and over. It's a dead period. You can't bring kids to campus, so it's hard to do some of this. You're doing a lot of this over Zoom, and that makes it difficult. So that's that.
Mm-hmm.
Rebro, along those lines, he says, without sugarcoating or beating around the bush, are we actually getting close to getting any commitments, or is that played too close to the vest and we just don't know? Let me answer this for you, Zach.
Okay.
Read the stories that Zach writes, because he writes a bunch of them. Whether you're interested in those kids or not, whether you think those kids are big-time targets or not, whatever. Read the same quote that they all give him. Paraphrased. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and guess that Zach's not making the quote up. They all tell Zach, I kind of want to see some places first. So the answer to your question is, no, they're not really probably getting too terribly close to commitments because the kids want to see the schools. But once the kids see some schools, then the commitments will probably come because kids get excited on college visits. I have 2 girls. I've seen them take college visits. I've seen college visits get them excited. The commitments come after visits. Zoom calls are not particularly exciting. Even if you're talking to Lane Kiffin and Jeff Lebby and you're getting a tour of a school, it's still a Zoom. It's not in person. It's totally different. So they're coming. They're coming for Ole Miss and for everybody. It's just weird.
The one caveat to that, you could see somebody like Kamari Rogers, who's been to Oxford before. He's been to a game. You could see somebody like Blake Gunter, who's familiar with Oxford. Those are the exceptions.
Right.
But for the national guys, for the guys that I talk to that are from Georgia, from Texas, from Louisiana, if they haven't been to Oxford yet, they're not going to pull the trigger. And look, I mean, most of these guys that I talk to have offers from everybody, so they're going to wait. And that's just kind of the lay of the land right now.
They want to do the summer thing where they come visit 6 schools. I don't blame them. I mean, it's a big decision, and you want to see some places, and you want it to be enjoyable and interesting and all of those things, and I get it.
And, hey, official visits, guess what, Neil? They're free. They're paid for.
Well, and a lot of times it's those visits where you get a real feel for a place too. You get an idea. Is this the place for me? Do I like the town? Do I like all that stuff? All the stuff that everything that applies to a normal academic kid making a decision applies to a football kid too. Big time question here, Zach. This is a hard hitting question from What the Hell IHL. He says, Zach, break down your adult men's league basketball team. And what kind of role a 5'7" white guy with great grit and toughness will play on that team?
It's kind of hard to get a feel for how we're going to be this year. COVID shortened season last year. Honestly, 5'7" white guy with grit and toughness. We don't have any of those. I'm actually the shortest guy on the team, and I'm 5'10". We lost a guy, career's done, torn MCL and LCL last year.
Oh, it's tragic.
Diving for a loose ball that he didn't even get, and that happened. Wow. So brutal.
50-50 balls, man.
50-50 balls. We're going to be pretty good. We've got some size. We got some good pieces coming back. Grit and toughness. I mean, those are things that don't show up in the box score, Neil. You can't measure those, so it's hard to really break that down.
Do you even have a box score at the end of games?
They actually do.
Oh my God!
Not that I'm ever asking for a copy of it or anything. But
I'd like to see that box score.
yeah. So
Charger Rebel wants to know how the offer process works. He says, I know there are committable and non-committable offers, camp offers where they can come and camp at a school to be seen more there. But how do they relay those to the players? Like, does a player know when or not an offer is committable? Well, here's the deal. They all get a lot of offers. You find out an offer is committable or not when you try to commit. That's when you find out if an offer is committable, and most are not. A lot of offers are offers where the kid thinks it's an offer. And again, these are professional salespeople. They're not pushing for commitments on these kids. They're hanging tight. Really want you to come see us and camp, and then they get you at the camp, and then they get to measure you themselves. So you've listed yourself at 6'1.5", 192, running a 4.41. They get you to camp. They'll find out if you're really 5'10.5", 181, running a 4.91. And at that point, the committable offer is no longer committable because it never was. Or if the other side is that they get you to camp and they put you on the laser and you run a 4.42 on the laser and you are indeed 6'1", and you are indeed 192, and you look like a gazillion dollars, and you look great running your routes out there, all of a sudden, coach really wants to meet mama and them. All of a sudden, they've got an extra 45 minutes on the schedule that they didn't previously have to hang out in the office, offer mama a cup of coffee, and get to know the family. I mean, suddenly there is a real interest, and at that point, the offer is most certainly committable. In fact, they're probably going to push for a commitment. That's how that works.
And look, it's been the process is you kind of get a little glimpse into how the sausage is made. Later in the cycle, every year now they do the official offers that are submitted. They have the graphic, and they send them out, so the kids will post them. So that's one thing to really keep an eye on when someone tweets or Instagrams or TikToks a graphic from Lane Kiffin with his signature on there. Then you know it's a real offer.
Yeah, those are real. Absolutely.
I'll tell you another real committable offer is if you're looking for security for your home or business. Look no further than Protection Unlimited, the Mid-South's leader in commercial and residential alarm security systems. Wayne Lowry and his team, 40-plus years in Memphis and the North Mississippi area. And they're looking to expand a little bit, expanding into Nashville, expanding into Atlanta. Cutting-edge security for your home or business, video surveillance options, monitoring 24/7, 365. Call them at 901-754-6510. Podcast also brought to you by Transamerica Insurance. They are changing the way that you look at life insurance. Rated best term life insurance company in 2020 by Forbes, Transamerica offers you 10, 20, and 30-year term life insurance catered to your individual needs. Call Drew Moak at 601-953-8449, licensed in Mississippi, Tennessee, and Texas, among others, and he will help you get started today. Podcast also brought to you by Davis McCord State Farm. Good neighbor service and surprisingly great insurance rates. Look no further. Davis McCord State Farm. One-stop shop in Tennessee and Mississippi for the service you deserve at the price you want. State Farm is ready to help. Call him at 901-755-6110 for surprisingly great rates today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Yeah, I mean, that's really the only glimpse I could really tell you about the process is those official offer tweets that come out. That's when if you want to make a spreadsheet or you want to jot down some names, that's it right there.
Yeah, those are the kids who have gotten through the filter.
Yeah.
All right, last thing. You pointed this out to me today. I'd seen it earlier. Darren Ravel, who I can't stand, has a tweet.
You want to talk about 40 times?
Yeah. I'll let you know when he finishes his run. Right now it's at 2 years. Overtime announces it has started Overtime Elite, Zach, which will allow 16 to 18-year-olds to go pro. Talking about basketball. Says there will be 30 ranked players guaranteed $100,000 a year plus bonuses and equity in overtime and a cut of licensed sales. High school academic classes are included for the players who go to overtime elite. It's interesting. I saw a lot of people just dismiss it right off the bat, and I was like, I don't know, man. I mean, you offer 16, 17-year-old kids $100K. They're going to finish high school. They're going to play against each other, which is going to make them better players. They surrender the right to play college ball at that point. It's gone. The moment you sign that contract, it's over. And then the next question is, will people watch that? Will people tune in and watch that? Will that be for overtime elite? Will that be a product that is able to be monetized? And I don't know.
I'm interested to see, what kind of games we're looking at. Is this going to be a McDonald's All-American type setup where it's just all offense, zero defense, and it's just guys throwing alley-oops to each other? Is it going to be that, or is it going to be actual games? Is it going to be an AAU type setting where it's more of the same, just up and down the floor, layups, dunks, threes? The competition, like you said, certainly going to be there because it's going to be the best guys. And I guess girls too. I don't know if they're going to do girls or not, but 100,000 minimum salary. That's going to talk to some 16 and 17-year-olds. On the face, I think it's a great idea. It's certainly going to throw a wrench into the NCAA's plans.
It could. It absolutely could. Although I think there's a lot of NCAA people that would like to get away from the one and done. Maybe this is a path towards that. I would be curious how many players at the age of 16 are confident enough in their prospects to go, yep, I'm gonna commit to this right now. Yes, will kids make bad decisions because of people around them? Yep, absolutely. But there are some guys that don't need to go to college. This would probably help them refine their games more. So,
yeah,
it's like,
Neil, have you ever heard of Cade Cunningham?
Oh, Zach, I have such a man crush on Cade Cunningham that I know he's going to break my heart. But yes, I have.
I don't think he really needed these couple months in Stillwater.
No, he's doing a lot more for Stillwater than Stillwater's doing for him.
Yeah.
God, he's a good player.
The connection there with Bryce Williams, I think, was huge in his recruitment.
Is that what it was? I tell you what, Cunningham, man. Cunningham reminds me. I hate doing this. It's not fair to the kid. There's some Magic Johnson in that kid. There's some Luka Doncic in that kid. There's some Scottie.
I didn't know you were going that high.
There's some Scottie Pippen in that kid.
He reminds me a lot of Brandon Roy. Just kind of a multiple guard, can play big and get up and down the floor, shoot it well. But yeah, you went all out with the Magic Johnson and Luka there.
Well, he's not a phenomenal athlete, but he's so smooth, and he can create so many different ways to get to the basket. He can shoot it. He's already a great free throw shooter. He's long. He sees the court well. He's 19? I just think the sky's the limit for Cunningham. If you have the first pick in the draft, that's who you take. I know there are other good players. That's who you take. But to your point, would he have been better served the last couple of years playing against nothing but other elite players and getting paid while he did it? Probably. Now, is he getting paid now? Yeah, of course. But I don't know. We'll see. It has some pros. Yeah. It has some cons. We'll leave with this. Mark Angelou in the thread. We'll take this up next week. We'll talk about it. It's about NIL, name, image, likeness. Basically says, how does that work? The star running back gets an NIL deal, and the offensive linemen who block for them don't. What's that going to do to locker room dynamic? At least in the NFL, everyone gets paid. It's a good point. It's It's kind of like the basketball thing that we just talking about. There are people who celebrate name, image, likeness as a 1,000% win. And don't get me wrong, I know Zach feels this way, and I do too. I think it is absolutely better than nothing. But it does not address everything, and it might be one of those deals where, like a lot of things in life, everything's not addressable. There are different kinds of kids. The kid who is on a basketball scholarship at Louisiana Monroe is getting his money's worth. He's getting a full academic scholarship. That's worth something. Trust me, as someone who pays college tuition, it's worth something.
Yeah.
And then there's the kid who's like Cade Cunningham on the other side, who in a normal year would be packing the arena at Henry Iba there in Stillwater and everywhere that he went, with people making a ton of money off of him. So there are both extremes. The girls' soccer player is getting a scholarship. She's not bringing any money to the institution. It's a complicated deal, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
We'll tease that in the next week. Thanks to everyone at Rebel Grove for the questions. Thanks to Killicam and Mark Angelou and everyone else for the questions in the thread. Thanks for being with us today. Thanks again to the College Corner. It's collegecornerstore.com. Go to them. Check them out on Facebook, Instagram, 2 locations in Jackson, or there on the website. For Zach Berry, I'm Neil McCready. That does it for this episode of the Soft Verbal Podcast. Until next week, take care.